If you're working on your graduate school essays and second guessing everything, you're not alone. A lot of applicants are not just wondering, what should I write? They're asking things like, how personal should I be? Can I reuse essays? Do I need a dramatic story? Are graduate school essays similar to undergraduate school essays? So in this video, I'll answer 7 of the most common graduate school essay questions I get, as honestly and clearly as possible, and then at the end, I'll reveal the biggest mistake I see applicants making. Let's dive in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Caitlin, an Oxford MBA and admissions consultant who has helped hundreds of students win interviews and offers to attend all of the top business schools in the world. They want to understand who you are, what you want, and why this program makes sense for you. Your essay is about helping your reader to see your direction, motivation, and fit. So you'll get different essay prompts across the universities, even for very similar programs. Even for the same program in 2 different universities, you'll get different essays. But they'll ask you things like, what are your short-term and long-term career goals? Why our program? What has prepared you for this program? So those are all questions to try to understand, can you clearly articulate what made you ready for this program? Maybe things that didn't show up in your resume or that you didn't actually say in your interview, so they can go back and look at the essay and say, oh yeah, she did do this project that was very similar to what we teach in this class, so it prepared her for it. So they're really looking for additional evidence. It's giving you another chance to prove that you're ready, that this is a good fit for you, that your career goals are in alignment with how they structured their program. This is where I tell my students to get very specific. So when they ask you why our program, you need to mention 2 to 3 courses, core and electives that you look forward to taking in that program and what you are excited to learn because it's a gap in your current knowledge. You need to mention faculty. So I usually have my students, each school, when they ask why our program and why is this program a good fit for you, they say, I look forward to interacting with Professor so-and-so because their research on this topic that is exactly aligned with my career and academic interests was so fascinating to me. So you have to give very specific pieces of proof that you have done your research, that you know what they're offering, who's going to be teaching you, what courses do you need to take, are you going to do the extended program option if they give you a 12-month and 16-month option? Are you going to do the research project as opposed to the internship? So get very specific about what their program offers and what you would make use of while you're there. And telling them those things is going to make a very big difference. And you don't just get specific with the why our program question, you also tell them very specifically what your career goals are. And I talk about this in my narrative video, which explains how to set your short-term and your long-term career goal, along with a couple other components of your story. And so I would encourage you to go look at that video independently and make sure that your short-term and long-term goals are extremely specific. So I'll go ahead and link to that video here. We get personal enough to reveal something meaningful to you that connects you to your career goals, not just for the sake of being personal. So we do reveal this personal story, but it has to be relevant to why you are now pursuing the career path that you're pursuing and why you have these goals that you have. Okay, so that gives you the opportunity to show the admissions committees that you are truly, genuinely connected to these goals. So most likely you're going to go for them. You're not just going to say that you're going to do these things. You will actually follow through. And so we do this in a very tactful way. Usually it's a very small paragraph, okay? We don't go on and on and on about the details of the story, but we give what happened, how it affected us, and that it motivated us to pursue the career we want to pursue. And that we can do in a personal statement, in a statement of academic purpose if you do it in the right way. And that is your ability to show your reader you really are going to pursue this pathway you're telling them that you're interested in doing. No, I want to clarify something here. Drama, for the sake of drama, is not going to help you get into these programs. What we're looking for is a personal story that is highly relevant to your career path to date and your career goals. Okay, so I don't think about the scope of the drama when I'm hearing a student's story and trying to understand, is that the right story to use? I'm looking for how relevant that story actually is, and did it actually transform them and make them want to commit to a career in this area? Okay, if the clear connection is not there between the personal story and what made them want to pursue this career pathway, then it's not going to be a strong story no matter how dramatic it is. Okay, so you can think about the stories from your past, the things that happened to you as a child up until when you were a teenager, up until early adulthood, and you think about what were those moments that shaped your interest in the professional side of your career goals and the cause side of your career goals, which is something that is very important to include in your career goals, and I will explain in my narrative video, which I'm going to link to here. Excellent question, because you are selling yourself to the admissions committees. And so how do you do that? Show them all your accomplishments and what you have to offer without overstepping and sounding arrogant or turning them off to you in some other way. And so what I tell my students is anytime that you mention an accomplishment in your essays, you include gratitude for that accomplishment and for the support that you received to get there. Because the truth is that whatever you achieved in your life, you didn't do it on your own. You had some support at some point from a group of people or an individual, and that it was critical to you actually succeeding. So show the admissions committees you know that's true. You know that you didn't get to where you are on your own. And that is what will ring true, so that you can show them, I'm so grateful for all the support that I've received throughout my life. That's why I love giving back. This is how I'm going to contribute to the program. The other way that I'll have my students do this is I'll tell them, you can mention the award, the recognition, the honor, and in the same sentence you say, while I was so grateful to receive this blank award, what was most fulfilling was, and then you add how that action, whatever you did to win that award, that recognition, that honor, improved the world around you. Improved your company, improved the project, improved your team's work. Whatever the situation was, what actually got better? And that is what you put the focus on. And you tell the admissions committees, you're happy you got the award, the recognition, the honor, and you're highlighting it right here, right? But what is most important to you is that it showed that other people valued what you committed your time to doing. Because you believe in this cause, you believe in this project, and it was very satisfying to see that other people were behind it as well. That's how you will show them an accomplishment, award, or recognition without coming across as being arrogant. So this is why I always recommend to my students that they complete the narrative before they start writing essays, because then they get the 4 main components in place, and now essays become much easier. So when you are writing essays for a certain university, you can reuse parts of the core story, but you should be very careful when you do that, because schools will typically ask very different questions, or even if they sound similar, the phrasing will actually be different enough that they're trying to elicit different information from you. So you have to be careful, because even the why this program could be asked in a slightly different way. They might be asking you why this area that you want to study in general. So you have to be careful about reusing parts of your essays, and make sure that you customize every single essay to the school. Even if you reuse like 1 or 2 lines from how you tell your story or your career goals, make sure you're adapting that to be exactly what the university you're applying to is looking for. So having said that, applying to graduate school is a lot of work, especially if you are applying to 4, 5, 6 programs. And you're in school full-time or you're working full-time. So how do we realize some efficiencies with our essays? Well, I have an essay identifier spreadsheet that I give my students that shows them the different kinds of most common essay prompts. And then that helps them to understand, is this really a why this program essay? So I can use the text that I wrote for these 2 paragraphs in this essay for this essay. And already that's gonna help you save time. And so you can realize efficiencies if your schools have the same kind of essay prompts. But like I said, you have to be very careful with that. Do not panic, but do be strategic. A weakness does not automatically ruin your application. I've had many applicants with very low GPAs, like 2.0 out of 4, 2.9 out of 4, 3.2 out of 4, low GMAT, low GRE scores, limited work experience, get into Ivy League schools because they were able to provide enough context and reassurance through the rest of their application. There are places in the application that the admissions committees give you the space to explain some of these weaknesses. So oftentimes the universities will have the optional essay for this reason. So if you have a very low GPA, which is 3.0 out of 4 or below, or you have a very low GMAT, GRE score, or you have gaps in your work experience of more than 3 months, or you had picked a reference they didn't prefer, then that would be the place to explain why. Now, you don't give excuses, you do it in a very tactful, professional way, but that is your chance to give more context. I've had many students be very successful with using the optional essay. People explaining why they had a very low GPA the first 2 years of their undergraduate experience. People explaining Fs. People explaining a GPA of 2.0 out of 4.0. People explaining gaps in work experience. So it is acceptable, but it is going to have to be done in a professional, tactful way. Both are meant to help the admissions committees understand the person behind your application. Undergraduate essays tend to include more identity exploration and are more descriptive in nature than graduate school essays, where they're going to be written in a more technical, professional style and reduce the descriptive language. The reason is that by the time you're applying to graduate school, the assumption is you have some professional experience. So now we're operating in the realm of career, not so much college and figuring it out. Okay, so the idea is that now we want to know about your career goals. We want to know about how you're prepared to be able to get a job when you graduate. And so that's why you'll get those questions. Why our program? What's your academic and professional experience been? And so that's going to elicit a more professional response. But I tell my students, the tone needs to be simple, direct, friendly. You don't want to get overly academic and flowery. I know that there's a temptation to, but if you do, you're going to lose your reader. Okay, so think about those articles online that are very direct and to the point, but they do have some technical words in them depending on the field that we're talking about. Trying so hard to sound impressive that you stop being clear. It's very common in the first drafts of the essays I get from my students for me to see people use very broad language or to be too polished and academic-like to the point where the reader is not going to walk away with a sharp understanding of who you are, what you've done, and what you want to do. Remember what Blaise Pascal said, "I have made this longer than usual because I have not had time to make it shorter." I encourage you to take the time to make your thinking clearer so that your sentences automatically become shorter. I'll leave you with a personal story. When I was working on my writing skills, trying to become a better writer, I was talking to one of my mentors, my father, who is an excellent writer, and I would give him a piece of something I wrote, really excited for his feedback, thinking I'd done this amazing job. Look how cool I put these words together. And he would always ask me the same question. Katie, what are you trying to say? And it would force me to have to think, how else can I explain this in the simplest way possible for this other human being to understand what I'm trying to say? And then I would say it out loud to him in another way, and he'd say, oh, great, say that. And then whatever I verbally said, I would write down. It was usually always much clearer, much more direct, simple, easy to understand. So I encourage you, if you struggle with this, you're not sure how are you going to get to a simpler, easier to understand version of what you want to communicate, try saying it out loud. Ask yourself the question my father asked me. What are you trying to say? I can tell you, even now, when I have to write something, I am thinking that. What am I trying to say? And then I'll say it out loud, and it usually comes out in a much cleaner way. So if you're working on your graduate school essays right now, remember this. You don't need drama for the sake of drama. You don't need to sound like someone else. And you definitely don't need to use flowery or academic language. You need an essay that is clear, thoughtful, and strategically aligned with the program. That is what will make it strong. If you found this video helpful, then don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for spending time with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.